One of the things we like to do on Living St. Louis is profile local ethnic groups, admittedly, at least in part, because they feed us so well. But there's more to it than that. Even with groups where the numbers are relatively small and there's no identifiable neighborhood, there are things that keep them together: food and other traditions, history, and religion.
Today, hundreds of religious groups claim to be the true Christian church. But for 1,000 years, there was just one. In the year 1054, political and religious differences resulted in a schism between the eastern and western branches of the church. Though most Americans are less familiar with the Eastern Orthodox Church than Roman Catholicism, the Eastern Church considers itself to be the original church. There are close to a dozen Orthodox churches in the St. Louis region, 3 of which are Greek Orthodox. It might seem like an unlikely place for the heart of an ethnic community, but beside Highway 70 in the West County suburb of Town and Country, Assumption Church preserves its Greek Orthodox traditions.
If you look at the church, it's decorated quite completely. This is characteristic of the ancient church, and even the ancient church of the West. However, as time went by, the Western churches began to use less decoration, where the Eastern Orthodox churches retained this iconographic representation.
Assumption is a modern church with an ancient feel to it, a place that demands the attention of all the senses.
There's no dichotomy between the spiritual and the material. And so we use all of creation in order to glorify God, and therefore in Orthodox worship we use all of the senses. We use the sense of smell, so you see incense. We sing. We use iconography because we read the gospel from the Holy Scripture, but we also see it in color. So the icons are the gospel in color. We view the gospel, we hear the gospel, we see the gospel, we smell the gospel. It's preaching to the whole person. You know, we are psychosomatic beings. We are not just spirit, but we are spirit and body.
Iconography, the artistic depiction of saints, is central to Eastern Orthodoxy, a means of turning the eyes toward tradition.
As you know, young people would put basketball players on their wall and look up to them. We put the saints, those people who have fought the good fight and have won. The difference is those basketball players may mess up sometime, but the saints never fail us.
When the Roman and Eastern churches went their separate ways 1,000 years ago, the Eastern Church retained most of the customs and beliefs of the ancient church.
The Roman Church found its roots in Rome, which was the center of Roman law. And so we would see the Roman Church as a little bit more legal in its approach to how it deals with the congregation and governing the church, whereas we would see the Eastern Church as being a little bit more mystical, in sense that a person we would look at a problem or an issue or theology more in terms of a relationship with God and with the person, as opposed to a legal kind of definition.
In the East, we know that we do not know, and therefore we don't know everything, therefore we know something. Maybe that's a way of explaining it. That's my way of explaining it.
We have photographs here that represent 65 years of life for our parish.
In 1940, members of St. Louis's Greek community founded Assumption Church in North St. Louis. Over the years, they moved west to University City, and in the 1980s to Town and Country. The congregation raised the money to build their church by inviting the entire St. Louis region to participate in its weekly Friday luncheons and festivals every September and Memorial Day weekends. But even in the Greek Orthodox Church, the congregations are becoming more diverse.
Increasingly, a percentage of the parish makeup is of all the various ethnic backgrounds that we see in the United States, especially of the various Eastern Orthodox backgrounds. So for instance, in our church, we probably have 10 to 20% of our parishes of non-Greek descent, or Bulgarian, Romanian, Serbian, Russian, or even just plain old USA. What we've done here is we've kind of strike a very nice balance between our old world ethnic traditions and family traditions with the new world, and do that in a way that we don't forget about our Greek heritage and our past, and understand our traditions and our foods and our culture and our religion, and have a real clear understanding of where we come from and where we're going.
What we try to do, I believe, is get as close to heaven as we can here on earth.